Fabulous. Hi, my name is Stenette. I am a PhD student in the Department of Anthropology.
And my name is Jenna Bracken, and I'm a master's student in the School of Public Health.
Today, we're going to share with you our Engage North experience with Beaver First Nation from May last year.
So what brought Stenette and I together is Engage North, which, if you're not familiar with it, it's a U of A organization that is pan-disciplinary and operates with the ongoing supportive partners. It acts as a hub for northern community-based organizations with southern resources. The internship program is the central activity, and Engage North works with community-based organizations to develop projects suitable for undergraduate and graduate students for a 4-month placement. And as you're going to see, this looked a little bit different for us this last summer.
So as I said, we were working with Beaver First Nation, which is a community in the Treaty 8 territory. It is made up of 2 reserves, the Boyer River and the Charles Lake Reserve. We spent most of our time in Boyer River, where we lived in a loft on top of the fire hall, but we also went to Charles Lake periodically. Both of the reserves are located about 50 kilometers east of high level and about 15 kilometers outside of Fort Vermilion. And there are more than 1,000 registered members to BFN, even though there are only about 150 houses on both of these reserves.
So just a little disclaimer that there are some graphic images of wildlife throughout our presentation, and you can see them, but fortunately you can't smell them or get bit by any of the mosquitoes present, so don't worry too much about it.
Even though both of those things still haunt Jenna's dreams.
They do. So we will commence our presentation through storytelling of our internship experience, paralleled with the significant event of an impromptu moose hunt in the summer and our learning process. So during one of our first weeks in Boyer, we saw a post go up on the community page advertising a quad ride. We eagerly signed up. We actually had no idea that it was going to be a moose hunt. Neither did others, in fact. It was advertised in the office as a traditional medicine gathering quad ride. We enthusiastically signed up for the 2-hour sunny afternoon event, prepared for a trip to town after to venture to the local farmers market. Little didn't we know that we were out for a full-day excursion.
These were definitely famous last words. We turned to each other in the truck and said, we're so going to make it back to the farmers market in time. Don't even worry about it.
So our internship kind of started off the same way as the quad ride. The beginning of our journey was marked with a lot of uncertainty and communication barriers while working remotely at the start of the summer due to the COVID-19 pandemic and wanting to prioritize safety for ourselves and the community. Trying to build relationships remotely without ever having met in person proved difficult. Add on poor cell reception, temperamental internet services, and you get the idea. So when we departed for the quad ride, we packed our backpacks with a little dinky granola bar and water bottle ready for a sunny afternoon of learning about traditional medicines. When we arrived at the meeting spot and saw others preparing with gas canisters, full days worth of food, gear, and some firearms, we realized that the traditional medicine quad ride we signed up for might be a little different than we originally anticipated.
I was blissfully unaware of this. I just thought, oh, hey, a 2-hour quad ride and a picnic. This is going to be fantastic.
She really did. And parallelly with little notice, after months of waiting, we were confirmed to travel to the community. It was a time full of excitement and yet more uncertainty. We packed up the truck, stopped at literally every gas station we saw, and trekked forward with a lot of nervous energy. Before leaving, I was set to be a health and wellness intern, and I thought that this would mean planning recreational things for youth and other services like that. Obviously, this changed more to COVID-19 services, things such as preparing isolation units, helping in planning and testing sites.
And when we left, I was supposed to be a lands intern, which I was for the most part. But so even though I did land-based projects, I also helped out with quite a few food security projects and also connectivity projects and then grant applications.
So again, we were off for an unexpected adventure, a little different than originally anticipated. So after a few beautiful and very, very muddy hours on the quad, we braked for lunch at a picturesque spot on the mighty Peace River. In my experience, at least, the best stories come out when there is good food around. And this was definitely the case here. Through informal conversations and many jokes, we got to know community members. Being willing and open to new experiences proved very rewarding, and that we were able to build relationships with those around us. In our kind of 9 to 5 work, which it never was, it was the same thing. Being present and leaning in to listen shaped our experiences. Our preconceived intentions of the work we would do over the summer shifted as we listened and followed the community's direction.
An example of this is, as mentioned, Jenna went to be a health and wellness intern, I went to be a lands intern, but towards the end of the summer, we were both working on education programs because the community felt that the COVID-19 safety protocols in the school district were not up to scratch for them, and they wanted to create a new school, which would be online until they were able to get a school building. And so a lot of our time went into planning for the school and then applying for grants as well.
So this is your last warning that the next slide is a little more graphic. So this is the actual moose hunt.
So we stopped for a second break, and during this time, a moose walked out into an open area. When they fired a long distance shot, the moose didn't run away, and the people who were with us agreed that it had given itself up in the end. Right after that, we were recruited to help and dress this moose in the field. We had about 2 hours of daylight left. This had to happen very fast. However, about 6 people were working on this moose at the same time. And even though there were 6 people working, nobody said a word for the entire time. And we learned a lot about working together, that even though it is a slow process, if everyone knows what they are doing and they do that, there is a lot that can be accomplished, even if it is extremely muddy and you do feel yourself sinking. And so the way this translated for us into our internship is pretty, I think, self-explanatory, in the sense that there are many learning experiences and applications. We should just be open to them. Right after that, we almost got stuck in the mud a few times, in waist deep mud. And we were the ones who got not only the ribs, but also the moose tongue and the moose nose, which are delicacies. And so we had to bring them back safely.
I don't know why they chose us for that.
It was a test, I'm sure. So the way this translated into our internship is that we came back to working remotely. And we realized that maintaining relationships are hard, but if there is enough of a will and enough pressure of falling into the mud, then we will do that. When we came back to the gas station where we started, everyone started sharing the meat. The person who shot the moose actually had very little meat that he took for himself and his family. And so the way that this translated for us was, when we came back into the community during the winter for another month, we felt like people were figuratively sharing meat with us. There was a sense of community the moment we stepped back, and everything just picked up the way it was before we left.
So the 2 photos on the right-hand side are, as you can tell from our smiles, very cherished memories. We were out, I think, both time on quad rides with community members, and it was a great time with, again, some great food. We couldn't show photos with the community. We didn't have the rights, but anyways, those are the great photos there.
This is a really beautiful presentation. I'll just ask you to move into some concluding remarks, if that's possible.
Yeah, absolutely. So we had very hard work trying to process this moose hide. And what we learned is that we would
It seems I've jinxed you.
You stopped her. No. Okay, I will talk a little bit until Stenette is back on. Just some concluding remarks. This was a really hard process. We built a lot of respect for community members here. Translates into our internship of learning from the community and just kind of doing what's needed. I see Stenette is on the So this, again, really briefly, is just kind of coming full circle. We were there with the moose being shot, processing the hide, and then we were gifted these beautiful mucklucks, and also got to learn in some skills. And the elder that beaded them, we interacted with and grew very fond of during the summer. And so it was a really meaningful gift for us. This is just, Stenette was going to say a bunch of really gushy things here about being really thankful for it and continuing the relationship, and that the work is never done. And just a reminder, us being able to bead now, these are really terrible examples of us beading, is just constant reminders of the experience and the relationships that we built, which brings us to questions. Thank you so much.